Last year, Howie Roseman said that we had enough Band-Aids. We've tried to fill our team with one-year guys and Band-Aids and guys that just hold the position while we waited for other players to come along. He said we couldn't do that anymore. It wasn't working. And he was right. And they went out and they got a quarterback, a foundational quarterback to build their team around. I was all for this. I think that was great. Now, as we got close to the season of free agency starting, we noticed something happening. The guys that were supposed to leave all of a sudden weren't leaving. The guys that were supposed to give their last farewell to the Eagles and their fans are still here. I thought that was kind of weird because it was kind of the opposite of what Howie said he was going to do. Then free agency started, and they went out, and you know I didn't want Alshon. He wasn't my first choice. He wasn't my second choice. I really didn't want him, even though I know he's a good player. But when the Eagles decided to sign him, I said, you know what? If they sign him, I will air why I think it's wrong, but in the end, I will support him and back him up. And then they signed him to a one-year deal. Then they basically signed everybody to a one-year deal. And they were over the cap. I thought this was strange. And then I put on the radio and read articles that were saying the Eagles are building from the ground up. They are building a franchise that will be good for a long time with one-year contracts. How do you build long-term with one-year contracts? You see, it's not just that Alshon can have a good year and we'll just sign him. It doesn't work that way. I know people think it does, but it doesn't. They're just fooling themselves if they believe that if he goes out and has a great year, he's just going to sign with the Eagles long-term. He might, but he might not. And there's a very real chance he might not. So I don't really like the one-year contracts because it's, to me, just another Band-Aid. Now, the Eagles did this. They currently are over the cap, and I'm trying to figure out why. Why would you do this if you're trying to build a team long-term? The only reason you would do it is if you're trying to win a lot more games next year than you may have let on. I mean, we got Jason Peters, $11.5 million against the cap. I think if they were to cut him before June 1st, he would save them $9.7 million. Kelsey would save them $3.8 million. Ryan Matthews would save them $4 million. And Kendricks would save them $1.8 million. That's close to $20 million of cap space. These guys are going to go anyways. Why did they have to stay one more year? Lane Johnson was supposed to go to left tackle. Peters, we love Peters, but it was time to move on. Lane would have spent this year adjusting to it. So in years 3 and 4 and so on, he would have been the steady, stable left tackle. But it didn't happen. And I couldn't figure out why. And I'm trying to figure out why would the Eagles all of a sudden just go basically almost all in to win more games this year coming up. And then I heard an interview, and I heard somebody say Howard Eskin was reporting that Andy Reid did not sign an extension with the Chiefs. And the thought was that he was going to come back to the Eagles as the president of the Eagles. And Roseman is nervous about this and feels the pressure to win more games next year. Now that makes a lot of sense to me. That's what's going on. And I think it's true. I believe that. Because Roseman can win more games, let's say in year 2 and get to the playoffs. And then in year 3 something goes bad, he can say, look, I got him to the playoffs in year 2. It was the coach, it was this. I think that's what's going on. I think if Roseman wasn't worried about that or losing his job, I think Peters would have gone. Lane would have moved over to left tackle. They would have signed a right tackle. Kelsey would be gone. Alshon could still be an Eagle. He just would have a long-term contract. And I think that's what's going on. So once again, I think the Eagles are telling everybody that they're trying to build the team the right way. And people buy this. I mean, you can put on the radio, you can go read articles. They'll always say how great the Eagles do in free agency. The Eagles always win free agency, they say. But when the Eagles start to stink it up next year, if they struggle, everybody's going to kill them. And they're going to act like they never thought the Eagles should have done this or the Eagles should have done that. I'm telling you right now, the Eagles made a big mistake on their approach to this year in free agency. Couldn't figure out what it is, but now I think I know. The Eagles front office is worried about their jobs. They need a playoff run in year 2. And I think that that's a mistake. So, we'll see what happens. It's early yet, of course, how he could trade all these guys. And then that would prove to me that that wasn't the case. And I will gladly update this video. Take care.